Welcome to We Are Waking Up, where truth cuts through the noise and history hits different.
The claim that M23 is a Congolese militia is a well-crafted piece of propaganda pushed by Rwanda and its allies among Tutsi communities in eastern Congo. In reality, M23 is a direct extension of Rwandan geopolitical ambitions, led almost entirely by individuals with deep roots in Rwanda and long-standing ties to the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, and the Rwandan Defense Forces, RDF. Nearly all of M23's top leaders, including Sultani Makenga and Bertrand Bisimwa, have Rwandan Tutsi ancestry and previously served in the RPF, the rebel movement that brought Paul Kagame to power in 1994, making the notion of M23 as a homegrown Congolese movement utterly baseless. Many of them fought for Rwanda during the first, 1996, and second, 1998, Congo Wars, when Rwandan-backed forces invaded the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, under the guise of security concerns, but with clear economic and territorial motives. M23 is merely the latest iteration of Rwanda's proxy forces. Their military careers are deeply intertwined with Rwanda's interventions in the region, designed to destabilize eastern Congo while masquerading as a legitimate local rebellion. The truth is simple. M23 is a Rwandan-backed occupation force, not a Congolese movement fighting for local interests. Top 5 most notorious and murderous Rwandan Tutsi leaders of the M23 terrorist militia. 1. Laurent Nkunda. Laurent Nkunda is a warlord and former military officer of Rwandan Tutsi descent. Born in 1967 in North Kivu, Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, a member of the Banyamulenge community, which shares ethnic ties with Rwandan Tutsis. Nkunda's early military career was deeply intertwined with Rwanda's conflicts. In 1994, he joined Paul Kagame's Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, during its takeover of Rwanda, which ended the genocide. 2 years later, in 1996, Nkunda fought alongside the Rwandan Defense Forces, RDF, in the First Congo War, helping to overthrow Congolese dictator Mobutu Sese Seko and install Laurent Desire Kabila as president. He remained aligned with Rwandan interests throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s, serving as a commander in the Congolese Rally for Democracy, RCD, a Rwanda-backed rebel group during the Second Congo War, 1998-2003. After the war, he was integrated into the Congolese army but soon defected, founding the National Congress for the Defense of the People, CNDP, in 2006. He justified his rebellion as a fight to protect Congolese Tutsis from Hutu militias, but his forces were responsible for numerous war crimes, including massacres, mass rapes, and the recruitment of child soldiers. His most infamous atrocities took place in Kisangani and North Kivu, where his troops engaged in large-scale violence against civilians. In 2008, Nkunda's forces launched a major offensive in eastern DRC, threatening to overrun Goma. However, geopolitical dynamics shifted, and in 2009, Rwanda, under pressure from both Kinshasa and the international community, arrested him. Instead of being extradited to the DRC, Nkunda was placed under house arrest in Rwanda, where he effectively received asylum. Today, Nkunda remains in Rwanda, living under state protection. Despite calls for his extradition and prosecution for war crimes, he has never faced trial. His case highlights Rwanda's continued influence in Congolese affairs and the unresolved justice for victims of the wars he helped fuel. 2. Bosco Ntaganda, aka the Terminator. A warlord known as the Terminator was a key figure in the brutal conflicts of Central Africa. Born in 1973 in Rwanda, he was of Tutsi origin and came of age during the Rwandan Civil War. As a young man, he joined the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, the Tutsi-led rebel group that overthrew the genocidal regime in 1994. After the RPF's victory, he became an officer in the newly formed Rwandan Defense Force, RDF. In 1996, Ntaganda was part of Rwanda's military campaign against neighboring Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, or DRC. Rwanda under Paul Kagame backed Congolese rebels to overthrow dictator Mobutu Sese Seko, launching the First Congo War. Ntaganda played a key role in these operations, which led to the installation of Laurent Desire Kabila as Congo's president. However, when relations soured, Rwanda supported new rebellions, leading to the bloody Second Congo War. Over the next decade, Ntaganda became one of the most feared warlords in eastern Congo. He held leadership roles in several militias, including the Union of Congolese Patriots, UPC, and later the M23 rebels. Under his command, these groups committed widespread atrocities, massacres, sexual slavery, recruitment of child soldiers, and ethnic cleansing. His brutality earned him an indictment by the International Criminal Court, ICC, in 2006, but he continued to operate with impunity, even serving as a general in the Congolese army. After a brief period of reintegration, his downfall came in 2013, when M23 suffered defeat. In a dramatic turn, Ntaganda fled to the U.S. Embassy in Kigali, Rwanda, and surrendered, likely to escape assassination by former allies. He was transferred to The Hague, where the ICC tried him for war crimes and crimes against humanity. In 2019, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison, one of the harshest penalties ever imposed by the court. From Rwandan rebel to Rwandan warlord to convicted war criminal, Ntaganda's life was a violent arc, ultimately ending in a cold prison cell, a stark contrast to his once unchecked reign of terror. 3. Bertrand Bisimwa. Bisimwa, born around 1973 in Bukavu, South Kivu, in what was then Zaire, is a Rwandan rebel leader with so-called Congolese citizenship, and the president of the March 23rd movement, M23, a surrogate militia of RDF operating in the eastern regions of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. Bertrand Bisimwa is of Banyamulenge origin, a Rwandan Tutsi community in the DRC, with historical and cultural ties to Rwanda. He is fluent in Kinyarwanda, which further underscores his connection to the broader Tutsi ethnic identity. However, his political stance remains centered on the claim that Banyamulenge and other Tutsis are indigenous to the DRC and deserve full recognition as citizens, which is baseless and totally historically false. Bisimwa's leadership of M23 is deeply intertwined with his advocacy for the rights of so-called Congolese Tutsis, who, according to him, have long faced systemic discrimination and violence due to their ethnic ties to Rwanda. He has described the group's struggle as an existential war, aimed at protecting these communities from marginalization and harm. In early 2013, Bisimwa condemned the United Nations decision to deploy a special attack force following M23's brief capture of Goma. Later that year, in November 2013, M23 was defeated by the armed forces of the DRC, FARDC, backed by the United Nations Force Intervention Brigade, FIB, leading to the capture of the remaining M23 strongholds. As of 2025, Bisimwa continues to lead M23, advocating for the group's political and military objectives. He remains a key figure in the ongoing conflict in eastern DRC, asserting that M23's fight is defensive and aimed at protecting Congolese Tutsis from persecution. However, it has become increasingly evident that Bisimwa, like many self-proclaimed freedom fighters in eastern Congo, is primarily engaged in self-enrichment through the illegal exploitation of Congolese mineral resources. These minerals are subsequently transported to Rwanda, where they are rebranded as Rwandan exports. This practice underscores the close operational ties between the M23 militia and the Rwandan government under President Paul Kagame. 4. Sultani Makenga. Makenga, born on December 25, 1973, in Rutshuru, within the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, is an ethnic Tutsi who rose to prominence as a military leader. His early years were spent in North Kivu, where he later became a pivotal figure in regional conflicts. Makenga's military journey commenced with the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, during the Rwandan Civil War, aligning with forces that eventually ended the 1994 genocide. Following this, he was integrated into the armed forces of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, FARDC, by Laurent Desiré Kabila, like all Rwandan terrorist rebels who were given political, military, and judicial high positions as a deal for Rwanda and Uganda, enabling Kabila to topple Mobutu and become president. However, in May 2012, he defected from FARDC and became a founding member of the March 23 movement, M23, ascending to the role of military chief. Under Makenga's command, M23 seized significant territories in North Kivu, including Goma, the provincial capital. In 2012, the group was implicated in severe human rights violations, such as the recruitment of child soldiers, sexual violence, and forced displacement of civilians. These actions led to international condemnation and sanctions. In August 2024, a military court in the DRC sentenced Makenga and other M23 leaders to death in absentia for war crimes, treason, and participation in an insurrection movement. As of February 2025, Makenga remains at large, with reports suggesting he continues to exert influence over M23 activities in eastern DRC. 5. Jean-Marie Le Guerrero Runiga, a Rwandan politician and former leader of the M23 rebel movement, comes from a Tutsi Rwandophone lineage with deep roots in the Great Lakes region. Allegedly, he was born in Bukavu, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. His ancestry ties him to the broader history of Tutsi communities in the DRC. Originally an evangelical bishop, he later emerged as a key political figure in the region's ongoing conflicts. In July 2012, Runiga was appointed as the political coordinator of M23, a terrorist rebel faction that briefly captured the city of Goma in November of the same year. During his leadership, he rejected international pressure to withdraw without negotiations, demonstrating his firm stance against regional diplomatic interventions. However, tensions within M23 led to his downfall in February 2013, when the movement's military chief, Sultani Makenga, accused him of treason, financial mismanagement, and fueling ethnic divisions. This internal power struggle resulted in violent clashes between opposing factions of the group. The DRC government later issued international arrest warrants for M23 leaders, including Runiga, charging them with crimes against humanity, war crimes, and acts of torture. As the group faced increasing military pressure, Runiga and several of his followers fled to Rwanda in early 2013. The Rwandan government granted them asylum on the condition that they abandoned their armed struggle despite persistent calls from the DRC for his extradition. As of the latest reports, Runiga remains in Rwanda, living under protection from extradition. His journey from religious leadership to armed rebellion highlights the volatile nature of politics and conflict in the Great Lakes region, where alliances shift rapidly and historical grievances continue to shape the present. Recently, in March 2025, Runiga has been spotted alongside his old M23 terrorist friends and even proudly posing for a photo, throwing away his clergy robe for a suit and tie, to now finally wearing a military uniform. Clearly, he doesn't believe in repentance. Thanks for sticking with us all the way to the end. You're the real MVP. If this content stirred something in you, imagine what's coming next. Stay tuned for more breathtaking, eye-opening drops right here on We Are Waking Up. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and smash that subscribe button.